I'm Park.
I'm Scott.
I'm Will.
And I'm Caleb, and we are in the band
Colony House.
And you're live in limbo.
I'm not trying to hide it, I'm just thinking slowly. Maybe you and I can live together if we ever learn to ease the tension. Maybe the world is crazy.
Hi, I'm Shannon from Live in Limbo, and we are sitting here with Colony House. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Great.
Great, all across the board there.
Yes.
Even though you're stuck in traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's all good. So you guys excited to play Toronto tonight?
Yes, we love Toronto. We've never properly headlined Toronto, so we're double excited for it to be the first Colony House show.
Yeah, I saw it written on like a chalkboard outside.
Yeah, I know, we made it to the chalkboard, so,
What an honor.
we're feeling great.
You're in the big leagues. So we're going to start off saying congratulations on the release of your new album.
Thank you.
A+ work there.
Thank you.
So we're going to bang off a couple questions about the album before we get started. So your favorite song while you were recording the album?
Ooh, I will say... Does anyone have one off the top of their head? Favorite song while recording the album. Favorite song that we recorded for our album. Okay.
I think Remembered For was a special one.
That was fun. I was thinking that one too, just because it was one of the first ones I felt like we did as we all set up in a room together and we were kind of rolling the dice on this new, we had never live tracked for a studio album. And so it was kind of intimidating and there was a question mark on whether or not it would work. So it felt like there was something to risk. And it was just one of those where I feel like we started and we were unsure about it. And then something happened about a few hours into that session specifically where everything clicked. And it was like, we went in and listened to a take and it was like, hey, we're gonna be able to do this. I think this is awesome. And there's just cool things that happened with that song that were just not mapped out, and it felt really organic. The whole outro, there's this kind of reprise at the end of the song that was just one of those things where we just kept it recording and started playing, and it kind of magically became this little outro section. And so I don't know, just fun little kind of moments.
Did that, looking back at the finished product of your album, do you have a different favorite song, or are you going to stick with that one?
Once it was all done, you mean? After?
Yeah.
I think another one, I Want It All, was one that I think after we got it back and it was mixed and everything, I think we were all pretty stoked about it. I don't know,
It's hard to choose. They're like
Beautiful
your children.
Life, that was a special one.
This Beautiful Life is probably one for me that feels, maybe for all of us, but that feels like kind of, it's just special. It was a special song. And I think that will be one that in 30 years, I will still be like, I can stand by this. I hope that with all my songs, but I am 100% sure about that one. That is just through and through a song that feels timeless for us. So.
Good choice. You got good backup there. Do you guys have any songs that almost didn't make it onto the album? Any that you were unsure of,
Well, I think we were talking about, I didn't remember this, but the guys said that the first track on the album, Cannot Do This Alone, there was a moment of uncertainty.
just a few seconds.
Yeah. I questioned it, and all these guys were like,
that's
no, it's fine. We're going to leave that on the album. I'm trying to think, though, were there any...
We definitely had ones that we thought were going to make it that didn't, that we cut off kind of towards the end of the process. We kind of went all the way through tracking, and when it got down to mixing, we were like, we just don't need to get these two mixed. They're not going to make it. So,
the ones that made it, I think, felt like these are going to be the ones.
I think there, like any record, there were definitely times where we were like, oh, is this right? This song, did we record it right?
Mm-hmm.
Did we capture it the right way? But I think that's just part of the process, and so most of the ones we initially recorded didn't make it, but like Scott said, a couple of them were like, this just doesn't fit this record. So, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's enough about the album there. So do you guys, if you could, I guess, individually have one artist that you could collaborate with, dead or alive, who would it be?
Well, I'll go through and say this. I'll go with Johnny Cash. And why? There's a lot of reasons why. One of our closest family friends, his name is Uncle Dave. His name is David Trask. He's not really our uncle, but we call him Uncle Dave. He was the Highwayman. He was a tour manager back in the day, and so he was good friends with Johnny Cash and Waylon and all those guys, Willie, and has told us stories over the years. I mean, he's been in our life for years and years. And for whatever reason, Johnny Cash, the way he talked about Johnny and June, kind of feels like if I ever met Johnny Cash, if I ever could have met Johnny Cash, it would have felt like I was that like fourth cousin who was like, hey, we're family, I promise. And he's like, no, we're not. But you feel like you're like,
I know so much about you.
You somehow are connected to him. I don't know. That I just feel I obviously, along with millions of others, resonate deeply with his music, and even just his persona, because I feel like it's very honest. So that's why. Sorry.
Is that across the board there?
Yeah, sure. That's a Johnny Cash, man. Is everybody? Yeah. I mean, if it was a band, is there an artist? Is it like an individual or a band? Can it be a band?
It can be whoever you
Led
want.
Zeppelin. And I don't need to explain why.
Mine might be Roy Orbison. I love so much of his music and his melodies. Like, if I could play in his band, and I feel like I would just learn so much. And some of my favorite bands are like heavily influenced by him, and I think he's the man.
I'm gonna have to go with Foo Fighters because I think working with Dave Grohl would be pretty awesome.
What do you say? Nothing.
Who's this Dave you speak of?
Oh, he was the captain of the SS Enterprise.
Sorry, we went off rail there.
Oh, okay.
We're back.
A little inside joke there. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of people say that indie music's kind of like an oversaturated market. There's lots of bands, not as many people listening to those bands, but clearly you guys are doing something, right? So if you would say there's one or two things that set you apart from the crowd, what would it be?
I don't know. I don't think we've ever tried to fit a genre. Not that we're trying to not fit a genre, because I feel like then you're fitting inside of a certain genre at that point. But we're not. I don't think we're doing anything like in a grand way that hasn't been done before. You know, like we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. And I'm not selling us well right now, but like I think there's something about being honest and being like, you know what, we're in a place where music has like there's so many amazing things, and you're right, it's oversaturated. We feel like something that might cut through that oversaturatedness is just being honest and bare bones and being like, we actually still like to play our guitars and play the drums and like it feeling human. And we kind of hope that that's the music we resonate with. And we don't feel like there's a ton of that, at least on a big popular scale that's being.
Like, I would say some of like the biggest indie bands nowadays, like Catfish and the Bottlemen, and like those are kind of like the same thing. Like they're just not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're just like going with it, right? Yeah. It works, right?
Yeah, I think it resonates because it's not, people aren't, there is definitely things that are coming, that continue to come out that blow our minds artistically. And that is amazing. I don't feel like our job right at this point is to be this like weird experimental thing that flips something on its head. More, I feel like we're supposed to be someone who's trying to find common thread with a lot of people, and because that's the music we like to make, is just like really I don't know, honest. We kind of like telling stories, and we don't want the music to take away from the story being told. So somehow finding the balance there. I don't know. It's the indie music thing. If you think on it too much, it can kind of get depressing as a band, because you're like, yeah, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people wanting to do exactly what we're doing and are as qualified as we are, so we kind of can't think on it too much. We kind of just have to be like, maybe what separates us is we're willing to get in a van for 300 days a year and do this.
It's true. A lot of bands, that's how they get their names out there, is touring and you opening up for artists, and it isn't always awesome, but it works. So I always like to wonder, as a consumer, I think like Apple Music and Spotify are absolutely wonderful. But as an artist, I always get conflicting answers. What do you guys think about the world of streaming? Because we know it's not the kindest to artists revenue wise, right?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those deals where it's like, we are in this ocean, so we have to learn how to swim in it. You know what I mean? Like, there's the option for us to be like, yeah, we're going to stick it to the man and not put our music out on any of these streaming sites or whatever. Like, but it just doesn't seem, it's kind of like, we have to change with the times and like learn how to adapt and embrace something and continue to fight for the like rights of artists and intellectual property and all of those things, because it's important and artists need to be taken care of, for sure. But we want to be mindful of how can we find common, like a middle ground and make this work for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's like I know that there have been plenty of people that have come up to us at shows and have been like, hey, I heard your music on Spotify. And, say we take that element away from our band, then maybe we don't reach that person. And that's like a real consumer for us who comes out to the show and enjoys themselves and buys a t-shirt and maybe buys a vinyl. And then at that point, like it is helping us make our way to people that we might not have made our way to. So it in that scenario can be a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I know personally, I always find all of my music through Spotify. Like, it's just playlists and everything. Like, that's just, it's the times now, I guess, Like you said, you got to change with them. So we're going to wrap it up here. And I'd just like to ask, where do you guys want to see yourself in like 5-10 years? What are your big goals for yourselves?
We want to still be playing music. That's a question we've been asked throughout the years. And we want to still like each other, love each other in 10 years, because I know that that's not always the case for bands. And that's the important thing. That's an important thing for our band, is like, when it's all said and done, what is the takeaway here? Like, our friendships, which were there before the music was, or the music. And I think for us, we want to be in a place that can continue to provide for our families. We would love to see it. We would love to see it like anyone else who's doing this on a grand scale, playing huge places, the whole thing. Like, we've never been like, well, once we get to the, these cool, this exact niche market, then we're set. It's like the sky's the limit. We want to take this to whatever place we can. And so we'll just say, as long as, like, even if it's a gradual, we like to think we've been doing this for a long time. The longer the incline, the longer the decline, I guess. So I think it's okay as long as we see it still inclining in 5 to 10 years. We'll be encouraged by that,
Okay, well, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.